kind of look at the whole discussion of Amazon coming to Chicago, you know, one of the critical issues for Amazon is there enough workforce, and is the right workforce? Like say, maybe one of our events, can you three just briefly talk about workforce in Chicago metropolitan area, the challenges or the opportunities you see out there? Briefly, we'll go to questions.
Well, I see the compression of work and people in a tight area, meaning in Chicago itself. Now, being on the Metro Board, looking at 11 rail lines that we try to bring people to work and take transit as a priority. Well, if the transit overtakes the freight, people are going to go someplace and they can't do their work because it takes the freight to get, you know, all the components together. So we have this great dilemma, and then we have a state that doesn't want to support transit. So we have a lot of dilemmas with us today, and we have to look at that around, do we really want to compress things right into Chicago, the local area, because it's getting tighter and tighter. It's costing more to do business on the tax front, you name it. Just getting people to work is costing more. I can't imagine one day we'll have a 12-lane freeway going into the city. But you know, I mean, it's really getting out of hand. So we have to start broadening our horizons a little bit.
Are there 10,000 manufacturing employees out there that we could steal from Amazon?
I wonder where they're going to get them from, because I'm trying to hire them too. I've been trying for a couple of years and I haven't found them, even for entry-level positions, which I understand is probably the similar workforce I'm going to be competing for with Amazon. So I've had a hard time finding them. And you know, the work readiness, the attitude. You know, I'm a relatively young guy at the top end of my 30s here, you know. I don't consider myself to be hyper-conservative or super liberal either, but I'm pretty middle of the road. But among my peers and people younger than me, the work attitude is very different. It seems to be a cart in front of the horse attitude where I need the money now and then I'm going to do for you. It's like, well, wait a second, how about a couple of years of you doing and then the money comes for you? So, you know, that attitude, it seems very pervasive in society, and I think, again, some of the policies that Cook County just put in place help reinforce that kind of attitude. I can just be vacant from my job with no call-in for days. You know, it's like, I'd love to have it that way, but that doesn't work in the real world. So I think Amazon's going to have some challenge finding that workforce with the right attitude in the city. I also, as a business owner, if I had a new place to locate, it sure wouldn't be there. They must be making a lot more money than I am if they can afford to open a new facility there. But anyway, that's my point.
So Zach, you're telling me, Northrop, you can't just email them and tell them that a couple of your staff took a sick day and then wait, it'll be there in a couple more days?
I have DX rated orders. That means it's top rated for national security in the defense priority allocation system. I have to give those priority. I have to take care of those orders. And those are, you know, they were signed off by the executive office of the White House. There's an important reason I need to make those parts. I don't know where they go, but if I'm late, my grading system, you know, you are in the red, there's red, green, and yellow on the rating on your on-time delivery. And if you're less than 98% on time, you're in the red zone. There's not a lot of room for error there. So, you know, they expect it when they want it. Those generals want their planes to fly, and our men and women in action need those parts and pieces. So yeah, I'd love to take off too. I want to go kayaking, but you know what, I got to make these parts. So.
As far as workforce development in Amazon, I don't know the type of worker they're really trying to lasso. But one word I always talk about that always comes up in every conversation when I talk about workforce development is math. Math. I know reading is an incredible skill and kids need to learn to read. I get that. I'm not against that. But it seemed like we gave up math for reading. I don't know. I don't get it. Every young person that comes in my facility, unless they're from the Leiden group, and even then sometimes they have problems with basic math: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Very basic. And that to me is a travesty. And I remember having these arguments with my kids' grade school teachers when I lost. I lost with my kids too. Don't use a calculator when they're young, because when they're developing those synapses of logic, they need those. They need to learn how to add and subtract and multiply, divide, because that's what creates those connections in your brain to think logically. And maybe that's where the cart comes before the horse because they're not really able to think logically. They just think that it's supposed to happen for them. I don't know, because everything happens immediately today, on their phone. It's all right there, bam. Life doesn't, we've all come, I guess, from a different world where life isn't as immediate. That's all. Yeah.
I don't think we're asking for rocket science, but one of the hardest problems we have is getting our employees to keep accurate counts of the parts and enter them in the computer because they can't add it up. They can't add it up. We put calculators at the workstation so they can add it up if they can't do it in their head. But they just don't understand the concept. And so again, we're not asking for rocket science, but if they haven't come in with basic addition and subtraction, division, multiplication, and then wouldn't it be great some geometry because we're talking about squares and circles and diameters and countersinks and fractions, 1/8, 1/4, 1/2. Those are the things we have to train for at the entry-level job, always. And so we do it, and that's part of the cost of our doing business. But when we're spending more on education than anybody else, and I can't get people that can simply add and divide and subtract, or at least use the calculator to do it, it's a problem.